Hi guys, well today we're going to make a short video just discussing some frequently asked questions that I've received in the past week, and let's get going on this. It's general questions mostly about what the growing season is according to, such as the squash that are growing, potatoes, sweet potatoes, and some general pesticide. So the first question, what pesticides do I use? I personally don't use any pesticides. I believe in an all natural growing method. So I tend to take some garlic and lavender, grind it up and spread it around the garden, and also feed that to my chickens just to prevent any mites or any large mite infestations. And when it comes to worms, I also tend to let the chickens into the yard, and they usually go and scratch in between, and also remove any bugs, crickets, grasshoppers, anything like that might try and eat my vegetables. So my chickens are mainly my pesticide actually, and then maybe some garlic and onions that I grind up and just throw around a bit. Second question, what do I put with my butternut? So we posted some photos on Facebook recently about my butternut squash that I've been growing, and underneath them I usually put some cardboard or some of the larger leaves from the same plant. And I was asked why I do this. Well, there's actually two reasons I do this. The first one being is that with the ground being hard and uneven, because the butternut is still growing and it tends to take the shape of whatever it lays upon, it doesn't have a very nice surface, and it might look like it's been scratched or dropped a few times. And the second reason why I use the leaves have a very prickly underbelly, which is very spiky. So any bugs or pests or even birds, mice, rats that tend to come close to the fruit itself tend to be discouraged from the leaves. Next question. Well, we had someone saying that they're struggling to grow their butternut fruit, or that the plants are very transparent but they've got no females and majority males. Now this could either be that the plant is still very young, because the males tend to develop quite early on with the plant's development, and the females only come later on when there are what we call runners, which are vines that start reaching out. So the females tend to only grow on the vines and not on the center mass of the plant. So if you're mainly having flowers now without any females, it's still probably a very young plant, or you started planting too late in the season, and the and the raise in temperatures causing mainly males to flower now, and the females might either be delayed or might not show up at all. Our next question is as follows. The plant seems to be having fruit but not developing fully or trotting away. This is usually a lack of pollination. A lot of people, when they grow, they tend to believe, no, the bees will come or something will come along and naturally pollinate. Unfortunately, bees' population has decreased quite exponentially over the years, as we all know, and has been quite abundant in the news. So I've myself have gone to hand pollination or manual pollinating. I do this with the majority of my plants, from my passion fruits, my butternuts, zucchinis, gem squash, even the corn. I tend to just bend over a bit and just shake it so that the pollen falls onto the fibers of the ears of corn. And then the next question that we have is not butternut related. Someone also asked us if I would have grown in your large dog food bags when it comes to potatoes and sweet potatoes, and if I would consider doing it in general if I didn't. I myself would not grow in bags, nor would I do it, well, unless you have any other options, I'd prefer to do it directly in the soil. I understand that if someone does not have the option to dig up the soil and plant there, you need to make do with what you have. In which case, yes, I suppose you could use large bags to plant in. But me myself, I generally prefer to just do it straight into the soil. And then something that this person mentioned as well was that they filled up, or asked me about the filling up process of potatoes, where you plant one in a bottom layer. And now the consensus is that as it grows, you keep filling up as it grows. Now a lot of people say this method works. My personal opinion and experience is it doesn't. The problem is all plants are biological creatures, mechanisms that have to keep growing to produce. Now if you keep topping up the soil to cover the leaves, you tend to force the plant to have to grow further, exerting energy on the leaf growth and the foliage growth, than actually forming the tubers, which it's intended to do as a survival tactic. So when it comes to this filling up process, I would say stay clear of it. If you have soil that is at least soft and loose to about 30 to 60 centimeters, that's all you need to do. Plant it 10 centimeters below the surface, let it do its thing. Don't keep filling it up, it's unnecessary, and you'll just waste your own time eventually. With sweet potatoes, I also see people are saying no, plant the whole tuber once it sprouts. You could do this, but you're going to cause yourself a longer waiting period at the end of the day. When you do remove the slips and you put them in a premium sprouting mix, the roots should sprout within a week. And it's on these roots that the initial sweet potatoes will grow. Whereas if you plant the whole tuber in the soil, they first have to establish new roots and runners to develop further sweet potatoes. So you're also prolonging the process that would be needed to grow sweet potatoes. Then our last question was more of an advice. So we received advice asking about potatoes as well, where someone said they have a small surface area of about 50 centimeters in diameter. I don't believe it should be a problem growing in this, but you'll probably only be able to grow 1 or 2 plants in this. So I would say that's more than capable of doing. Just don't expect a very large yield from your potatoes. And then yes, you also mentioned that there was heavy rainfall this past week, which we've all experienced. So with the heavy rain, I see that you did say that you're afraid that the roots might rot or the potato tubers may rot away. You did mention that you have proper drainage holes, so I don't believe that will be an issue at all. And I think that if the holes are big enough and that the drainage is there, no matter how heavy the rainfall, it should be fine. But do keep in mind, with heavy rainfall, the tubers tend not to be as large as when it's a bit of a drier season with rain time to time. And that is why I personally only water my potatoes once a week, maybe twice a week, if it's an extremely hot day. And I think that's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy.